Hello again, and welcome back to Onfleet's Cannabis Series for 2022. I'm Steven, and I'll be back with Robert Fierro of Onfleet, and we'll be joined by Jake Telo, co-founder of Hyperwolf, and Chris Violas of Blaze. We have a lot to get into about your companies and the different ways that you guys are working together, but if we could just do a sort of quick round of introductions first. So, Robert, this is not your first rodeo, but would you just remind the listeners, please, who you are and what your role is at Onfleet?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Steven. So my name is Robert Fierro. I'm the director of partnerships at Onfleet. I was at Onfleet 7 years, previously VP in banking, but now turned cannabis delivery expert, and super excited to talk with both Blaze and Hyperwolf today.
Jake, you have described yourself and your role at the company as a Swiss Army knife. So I'd just like to hear, why you use that term. Like, tell us a little bit about the company and a little bit about your role there.
Absolutely. So we're a legacy cannabis brand, and we've kind of identified quickly that delivery was the preferred method for people buying cannabis. So we focused on delivery from the very beginning of our inception. I would say we're probably one of the bigger direct to consumer brands out there. A lot of our competitors are pretty much retailers that sell other people's products. We sell our own products first and foremost, and brands that we partner with that we feel like have really great products in the space. I would say my role, I'm actually a co-founder of Hyperwolf. My partner's name is Nick. I wouldn't be able to do this without him. Just want to give him a shout out. But as far as me being a Swiss Army knife, some days I have to put on, a customer service hat. Some days I have to put on a driver or manager hat. Sometimes I'm an inventory genius. It just depends on what kind of is the biggest fire that we wake up for every day. And I kind of put that hat on and take that challenge and that role on. And me personally, I'm a Virgo. I'm kind of a control freak. So if someone's not doing something the way that I would have done it in my brain, even though if I didn't communicate that to them, it's not done properly. So that's just kind of a blessing and a curse for myself.
Last but not least, Chris Violas of Blaze. Chris, could you tell us a little bit about Blaze, a little bit about what you do there, and maybe a little bit about your sign if you feel like getting into that?
That's awesome. Thanks, Steve. And appreciate it, Rob, Jake. Thanks for being on here. Always a pleasure to be with you guys. Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm Chris Violas. I'm the co-founder and CEO here at Blaze. What Blaze is, we provide an operating system for many of the cannabis operators out there. So in this case, for Jake, it's delivery operations for his dispensary. It could be cultivation operations for a grow somewhere in North America. It could be manufacturing. It could be a lot of different solutions that we provide. But at the heart, we are, think of the operating system managing inventory, managing day-to-day operations, which includes, logistics, which includes compliance, includes a lot of different things under our purview. So really excited to be here. I would definitely say I'm really similar to Jake in the fact that we don't have the same sign, but what we do have is, we got our hands in a lot of different places in the business. Similar to Jake, if you ask him to do one thing in this business, it could be the smallest thing or the biggest thing. He probably knows like the back of his hand. I would say I take a lot of pride in that as well, even though we're 100 plus employees now here at Blaze, and moving across about 1,400 dispensaries now. I still like to get my hands dirty, and ultimately kind of led to this story here. So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah. So can you just tell us a little bit about, the story of your relationship with Hyperwolf?
Blaze is based in Newport Beach, California, Orange County. Hyperwolf has been around for quite some time and has had a great name, but I would say over the last year and a half, really, Jake and his team have done a phenomenal job of growing the business. So I kept driving to work and seeing these billboards for Hyperwolf. And I'm like, what is this? So that's how I originally found out about it. I asked my sales director at the time, so hey, let's go find out who these guys are. They're all over the place. Would love to really work with them since they're in our backyard.
So we were using a competitor of Blaze, and they're great. I have nothing negative to say about them. The only thing for us, being at the scale that we're at and being the control freaks that we are, we demanded to have better control over our front end, or what some people say is like the user experience. When we started to branch out, we were pretty much discussing with every other platform out there. Blaze was the only one that was even in the same ballpark of having the technical capabilities of what our needs list had. And, we definitely had a great discussion with Raj. He kind of pretty much ensured that we would have every single tool and available to us, ready to go. I know there was a few custom builds that were going to be a little bit restricted on who they were going to have access, like which brands would have access to those things. And luckily Blaze was gracious enough to give us early access to some of these great tools that were even in beta. And I feel like those were really a critical piece for us to allow us to grow our business, because at that point we were able to control exactly what the customer was seeing, which banners they were seeing, which promotions they were seeing, what the look and feel of the website was. We were able to integrate with other identity verification pieces of software, and most importantly, we were able to integrate with Onfleet, which for us changed our business dramatically, because our call center went from roughly, anywhere on any time of the week was 30 people on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe closer to 50 people working in that call center.
Wow.
Now there's roughly between 4 and 10 on any given day. So you can imagine the savings that we have with just that alone. Plus the customers have a much better experience on the platform now, thanks to both Blaze and Onfleet being more open with their API. We were able to custom build an order tracking page, more or less similar to something that you'd experience with Postmates or DoorDash, where a customer can easily track their order and communicate with their driver or dispatcher. And we were able to custom build all of that thanks to both Blaze and Onfleet being open and allowing us to access their APIs.
That's what we're here for, right? That's what merchants want to provide day in, day out, is the best consumer experience. And I think, honestly, they pulled off what I believe to be the best delivery service out there today in terms of customer experience. It's my go-to ordering platform today. But really, that was the core focus, was first off, how do we service the right inventory for this customer given where they're at? And then how can we keep that time estimate being communicated? And so we worked really closely with Jake and his team to work on this new feature we have called the region support. Essentially, you can define geographic region, geographic area, in this case for Hyperwolf. There's many of them, and assign certain drivers or certain inventories to that region. And so as a consumer goes to the website here, Jake, I think I'm telling a little bit of the story, but you go to, hyperwolf.app, you start to put in your address. It's the very first thing you do as a consumer. You put in your address, and right away, we are then servicing the inventory that's local to that consumer. So one, we get reduction in time. The driver doesn't have to go back and forth, right, to home base to go pick up product. They have product on them, so we can go ahead and service that inventory. And then from there, that order is placed, hits that driver, in which case at that point behind the scenes, we're actually thinking Onfleet's routing and getting the time estimates together for that route and servicing that back to, in this case, to Hyperwolf to display to consumers.
Jake, I wanted to ask about scaling and the issues that you faced as you guys scaled. Obviously, as you said, this is a legacy company, you've been around, but it sounds like there were some difficulties with managing deliveries as you guys scaled up. I'm curious, what are the big challenges and what has Blaze done to address those?
Yeah, I would say we were on a pretty aggressive growth pattern, and COVID happened, which basically was rocket fuel to what we were doing. And that was a wild ride for a number of reasons. One of them was we were allowed to stay open, but no one was allowed to work. So that was a challenge in itself. And we've really been able to utilize the region platform that Blaze built for us to minimize how many drivers we need and fully understand what that scope looks like as far as how many orders are coming in to a particular region. And, using our own backend, like, I guess, math, instead, I wouldn't say algorithm, just basic math of like how many orders one person can fulfill within, an 8-hour shift or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
We were really able to do our best to keep up with demand. I don't think we did the best job. I think we were really limited on just basic economics. The world was in a weird place, but if we did not have those things in place, I can't even imagine how terrible of a customer experience that would have been for people. For us, at the end of the day, our goal with this was to mimic more or less what people were experiencing while using Postmates and DoorDash. Those were two use cases for us that we were really trying to kind of borrow ideas from, I guess is the best way to put it.
Mhm.
Did a really good job of meshing our cannabis culture and our vibe with those pieces of technology. And at the end of the day, the only way that we were able to accomplish those things were thankfully because of Onfleet and Blaze.
I think it's really important to realize, I mean, there is this change in consumer behavior that has happened. And I mean, it's been accelerated by COVID as well, but especially by Amazon. So like the duplication of Amazon being able to get you packages quickly, also Postmates, Uber, duplicating that effort is almost a differentiator that's going to save businesses nowadays. So companies have to really provide a similar service. And I think that's one of the big things to focus on here is that Hyperwolf and Blaze together with Onfleet have really recreated this type of experience. And, we haven't touched upon this word yet, but it is a key word that I think we should mention. Jake and team are running the ice cream truck model. And the ice cream truck model within the cannabis industry means that they're loading up with inventory, going out and doing really like these just-in-time deliveries to the end consumer. Now, one of the great things that Blaze has done that differentiates themselves among all of our partners is how they've created this integration with Onfleet. And what they're taking advantage of is something that is coming out of beta soon, but it is our auto dispatch feature, which literally will look at the inventory out there, the drivers, and create this auto assignment to the correct driver in real time. And I mean, just speaking to Jake's statistics around his customer service team and the reduction of team that he's been able to achieve, I mean, that's like incredible from a resource management perspective. And that's all fueled through this automation and this incredible integration with Blaze. So I just want to stress that enough because we're really trying to duplicate this Amazon experience, this Postmates experience, and provide that back to, these individual retailers. So they don't have to go, especially in the future, they might have to go to a third party to provide this type of service, but they don't. And it's actually less expensive to do this in-house using a system like Blaze plus Onfleet.
It's a challenge to duplicate anything that Amazon is doing, right? I mean, Amazon is this global behemoth that sells everything. How, what are the tools that make that possible in something where you're in a pretty specific industry where you've got customers who probably have even more specific tastes? How can you make, an experience as, sort of personal as this? How can you make it feel like ordering from Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky enough at Onfleet that we do work outside of the cannabis industry as well. So we have lots of experience in pharmaceutical delivery, prepared meals, restaurant. I mean, you name it, we touch upon it out there across the world. So through a lot of those experiences, we've built feature sets that are going to align and then work with our integrated partners like Blaze to duplicate that Amazon experience or improve upon it in many ways. I mean, Amazon, even though they're a behemoth, once they roll something out, they're kind of stuck with that and it takes time to move on that as well. So even our new auto dispatch feature is an improvement upon a lot of the logistics providers out there.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining me. This has been really interesting hearing about each of your businesses and how they're working together. As we sign off, Jake, is there anything else you wanted to share before we wrap up? And also, if people are, if they want to get in touch with Hyperwolf, how can they do that?
Yeah, hyperwolf.com or hyperwolf.app. They're both interchangeable. That's the best place that you can get in contact with us. Check our menu out. We're pretty much all over Southern California, from Los Angeles, the Valley, all the way down to San Diego. Everything in between except for San Bernardino, unfortunately. And yeah, if you have any suggestions on what we should do next with our menu, let us know. We'd love to interact with our customers. As far as final thoughts, I definitely wanted to give a shout out to Jonathan Darwish from Onfleet and Alex, the programmer from Onfleet. Without both of them, none of this would have come true, because at first I was not a believer. I thought that we needed, 40, 50 dispatchers on staff in order to make this dream of ours happen. And thankfully we met Jonathan. He believes in Onfleet and what they do so much that he really pushed this forward and kind of sealed the deal for us. And they brought Alex on, who's, in my opinion, one of Onfleet's top programmers. He wrote some custom scripts for us using the new auto dispatch feature that Onfleet released. And that's really what have been front and center at our customer experience as of late.
Chris, I want to turn it to you. How can people get in touch with Blaze if they're interested? And any final thoughts as we wrap up?
Yeah, anyone can reach out to us. Our website is blaze.me, so pretty straightforward there. And feel free to use the contact form, get a hold of us, get routed to the right team. No, other than that, just really excited to see the success thus far. Obviously, we're a continued partnership, continue to iterate on all these things that we've been talking about. So, Jake, just want to thank you and the Hyperwolf team for all your support. Robert, as always, with your team at Onfleet, it's been fantastic to continue to work with you guys and to innovate as we see these new challenges pop up. But other than that, no, I'm grateful for the combo. Thanks for hosting, Stephen.
Yeah, of course. And Robert, before we go, do you want to just remind people how to get in touch? And I don't know if there's anything else you want to throw in there.
Of course. Just let me thank the Blaze team, Hyperwolf team. You guys are awesome. And I know with integrations and partnerships, the iterations are always coming. So I know we're just going to be continually improving upon this, making it better and better, and making things more and more delightful for all of our customers. And yes, you can reach out at any time. Onfleet.com is the website. And then you can also email me at robert@onfleet.com if you have any interest. But yeah, thanks for the time. And I'm excited to see where we keep taking things into the future and just keep improving things and make things better for our customers.